This is the UEL Sports Show.
Well, hello and welcome to the UEL Sports Show. I'm Don McDermott, as you can see on my own for today's show. My usual companions, Deck and Sebastian, unavailable this week. But once again, I'll be taking you through all of the results from Wednesday's fixtures and telling you what games you should be going to next Wednesday. So, of course, the big match to start with was the men's basketball home game. That was against Oxford University. Quite an exciting match, closest match that I've seen in my time at UEL in league play. UEL started out quite well in the match. Kind of cruised through the first quarter, to be honest. Went up 24-18. Then struggled a bit in the second quarter, which was unfortunate for them. But yeah, they fell behind by a couple points at the half. Third quarter, UEL have actually had quite a few big third quarters this year. And they started out, this one didn't look like it was going to be a big third quarter. They kept falling behind, and then all of a sudden they caught fire again, charged ahead, got the lead. Through the fourth quarter, continued to expand the lead, and everything was looking great until right at the very end, they kind of slipped off again, and Brunel actually had a chance to tie it down by 3 at the very end, but they couldn't manage it, and UEL hung on to win 83-80. So, great win for UEL in the end, and they moved to 4-1 on the season. Obviously, 10 games in total are played in the Buck South Premier League, so they're halfway through the season. We did have another basketball match going on, which was the men's basketball third team. Third team obviously are new this year. They've had a fantastic start to the season. They won yet again. A bit of a closer match, and they didn't put up 100 points as we have often seen them do, but they did win 74-66 over the Kent first team. So they beat a first team there, so that will make them feel really good, I should think. We also had the football teams in action. Men's football first. They picked up another great win over Hertfordshire University 2-1. So men's football, after their promotion last year, they're in the Division 1, just below the South Premier League. Obviously, they would love to win promotion to the Premier League this season. And to do that, they need to have a good season. I think they're probably... there was a little bit of concern when they started the season with a loss. Since then, though, they've won every game. They've gotten right back into it, so it's really fantastic for them how well they've done in recovering from that opening loss. So, yes, indeed, another win for the men's football team. Again, 2-1 over Hertfordshire first team. The women's first football team were also in action. They unfortunately couldn't pick up a win, losing 8-5 to Roehampton first team. That wasn't a cup game, so women's football are now out of the Bucks Cup. However, they will now return to league play. I saw on their Twitter feed that, they're sorry to be out of the cup, but now they can concentrate on their league play where they are doing quite well. A huge difference from last season. They struggled a bit, but this year I believe that they've got 4 players who play in leagues, Millwall Lionesses, I believe. At one of their players, who we will try and get in on the show sometime this year, Lily Maple. She got called up a few weeks ago, which we did mention, to the England under-20 squad. So obviously a lot of talent on the team this year, and it's certainly showing in their results, even though they did unfortunately lose in the cup to Roehampton 8-5. We then had a very, very exciting game in women's netball. Only the second team, it seems, were in action against the University of Surrey, fourth team, in a plate match. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a tough game for UEL. They fell behind for pretty much the entire match. They were behind by varying degrees. Sometimes it was just a point, sometimes it was 5 points. But they were consistently behind until right towards the very end, where all of a sudden they just got this massive surge and just willed their way back into the game. And then with about 30 seconds to a minute left in the match, they scored the tying goal. Obviously, it's a plate match, so it has to have a deciding end to it. So they went into overtime, and the game went back and forth, and then finally UEL pulled ahead, and the whistle went, and they won 38-36. Massive excitement there. It was great to watch. They were just shouting, jumping up and down. It was really exciting for them. They were just thrilled at how they just hung in there and then won it in overtime. It was a tough game, but they should be very proud of themselves that they have advanced on in the cup, plate match. We then have a few other results. Women's badminton lost 6-0 to the Kent first team. Men's rugby, unfortunately, lost quite heavily to Canterbury Christchurch second team, 44-0. So still looking for their second win on the season there for men's rugby. Men's tennis, talked about this again and again with Deck and Sebastian about all the tennis teams, so I can kind of let you guess what the final score was. 12-0? Yeah. 12-0, correct. I knew you could guess it, yes, against the Surrey first team. So, once again, men's tennis are just tearing through their league. The other teams were off, but they'll be back again next week and probably picking up a lot more 12-0 wins. And then one more result, which is not from Wednesday, but from actually over this past weekend, which was the UEL Titans, the American football team, in their first season. They lost 20-14 to City University London. Again, very unlucky. Another 2014 loss. Obviously, if you don't know too much about American football, a touchdown, which is like a try in rugby, is worth 7 points, 6 points, and then a point after, which is like a conversion. So, obviously, one score each time, losing by 6 points. So, very tough for them. Obviously, Sebastian not on the show today, but I did talk with him, and he said it's very frustrating to lose like that. I should add that they did play City University in a friendly match last year before they went into Bucks Leagues, and they lost, I want to say, 31-7. So that does show that the club has obviously improved. There's a lot more interest in the club, which is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we can see that the interest in American football has actually grown quite a bit in England with the NFL's international series that they've been doing. So it's great to see them obviously having improved since that game and competing in Bucks now, and very unfortunate to start the season 0-2. So there are your results. Now, obviously, I mentioned the men's basketball team, and absolutely delighted for the next interview that we're going to have here on the UEL Sports Show. All right, so I'm joined now in our makeshift studio here by Dougie Bennett, the basketball first team captain. Dougie, glad to have you on the show with me today.
It's good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, so I guess to start with, obviously on Wednesday, team got another win, very hard-fought win against Oxford. Tell me a bit about your thoughts from that game.
As you said, it was a tough game. We started off quite well. I think we went up by 10 quite early, or close to 10, about 8 points quite early. And then we started to let it slide. I think we just lost our concentration a little bit. We weren't running plays the way we should be running them. And again, at half time it was equal or near on equal. The second half we had a big third quarter again. We seem to be having big third quarters lately quite a bit. And we pulled away again. And then towards the end, I don't really know what happened towards the end. We were up, and I thought we were up by 10, and then all of a sudden we're only up by 1, and we have to score, and we did score, and then we held out that last possession to win the game. But it was a tough game. Tough game all round. Everyone contributed well. There's good minutes off the bench. Starters contributed really well. But I just think we lost our concentration. So yeah.
Yeah, and looking at the entire league, the Bucks South Premier League, that's also is very close. I mean, you've got Southampton, Solent. I haven't gotten the results from yesterday's game, but prior to that, they were 3-1. UEL were 3-1 before winning. Brunel were 2-1. It's all very close, and all three of those teams have beaten each other. What do you feel about how tight it is this year?
Yeah, it surprised me. It surprised me this year. We didn't think Solent were going to come in and be as good as they were. We definitely underestimated them when we went to their place. just because the record we had from last year coming into this year, and as you can tell if you've watched our games, we've got a different team entirely. A couple of guys have stayed the same, but we're relatively new, we're relatively small this year, we're not as big as we used to be. And when we went to Solent, we underestimated them, but we've got Solent at home now, and I think we're in good stead in that game. We're preparing well, we're gelling well. We're still not quite there on our defence. We're still letting teams score far too many points. But we're getting there, and we know we can win in Brunel. We won at Brunel last year. They are a talented team, but we know we've beaten them once. We know we can do it again, and we've been to Brunel, so there's no shocks. A lot of us have played there before, so yeah, I think it's good competition for us, because last year we went through the league and went through the season with so many games winning by 20 plus points, and then we got to the Bucks final eights and one tough game and we lost it. And I think this will help us this year, grinding out wins and staying together as a team. So yeah.
What do you think it's going to be like when you face Oxford away? Because obviously you beat them by 3 points at home, and they lost to Brunel in their only other game they played by just 5 points. So they're 0-2, but possibly a bit of a unlucky 0-2.
Yeah. It'll be a tough one. I didn't play the away game in Oxford last year. I had to go to hospital. But they were, again, I think we ended up winning by 40 or something around that mark. But again, our team's different. I haven't played in Oxford. I don't think I've played at their place. They're a tough team. I mean, they've got a lot of Americans. They might not come for sport because it is the Oxford, and they come for academics, but they can still play basketball. But now we know a bit about them. JP will do his scouting. We'll put it on the floor. We'll get a good couple of sessions in before the game. We'll get to the game nice and early. We'll have a good warm up, and we're ready to go. And I suppose that's what it is. Just getting ready to go and being prepared, because now every game we need to win now. Because we dropped that game against Solent, we need to win every game, and we know that, and JP knows that, and I think we'll get it done.
Yes, and carrying on from that, looking ahead to next week's game against Bath, you obviously already beat them earlier this year, and then also just for the rest of the season, obviously this is the midway point of the season.
Yeah, it is,
how do you feel going forward?
So Bath will be a tough game away. We went there last year. I think when we played them at home last year, we beat them by 80 or something like that. Then we went away and we beat them by like 5. The road trip doesn't help. Being stuck in a minibus with 10, 12 guys that are all above 6 foot doesn't help really. But no, we have to go there and grind the win out. And as I was saying, we'll prepare as much as we can for that game. Now we've played every single team, we can go into that game knowing what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. But at the Bath court, it's a very narrow court, and they've got their home refs. So, I mean, I'm not saying they don't cheat, but they definitely don't cheat. But it's with their home refs, obviously, home refs help a little bit. But it's just we'll get the win, and I mean, we'll do the best we can. Even if we win by 1 or we win by 50, it doesn't really matter as long as we get that win in the column at the end of the day and move on to the next game. Looking forward from Bath, I mean, as I said before, we have to win every single game. It's not an option now, dropping one game. If we want to make Bucks final eights and go through top, we have to win every game. And we want to be in that same position where we finish top and we're the best in the South again. And as I said before, we just got to keep on grinding out those results and preparing the way we prepare, and we'll get them done.
Yeah, and I guess that is kind of the big question. I think that your biggest competition this year will probably be from Southampton, Solent, and then from Brunel.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've beaten Brunel. You seem very confident. The team seems very confident to beat Southampton. So, do you think that you are going to repeat as South champions?
Yeah, I think we do. Especially from the buzz around the team. We've sat down and we've had meetings. We've all got common goals. We've all got standards that we need to uphold to. And every session, JP starts with our standards. And if we're not doing our standards in training, we're not living up to the standards in training, he'll pull us up on it, and we'll get punished for it. But it's at the end of the day, we're working together as a team to get an ultimate goal, which is the final eights. And I generally believe we can do that again and get there. And this time, win that first game, all important first game. I've been hearing results about maybe games in the north. There's a couple of teams that aren't doing so well. Leeds are 0-4 now, and I think Salford are 1-3. And I've heard rumours that they're not as good as they were last year. So that might help us in the long run if we get a good draw. But again, we got a tough draw last year in a Durham, so it all depends on the draw really, and just see where we go from there. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me on the show, Dougie.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
So, again, that was Dougie Bennett, the captain of the men's first basketball team at UEL. Very successful in the time that he's been here. UEL have gotten promoted every season that he has played on the team. Obviously, with the exception of last season, because they were already in the Premier League, so they couldn't exactly get promoted. But they won the Premier League, which is the equivalent of it. Moving on into the show, we now have, as always, our winner of last week's Play of the Week, which you all voted for on Twitter. Or if you didn't vote for it, you should have. So make sure you vote for next week's, which we will give you the candidates for later. But here is your Play of the Week from last Wednesday. Alright, so there you are. That was your Play of the Week for last Wednesday. And now, looking ahead to next Wednesday, we will have, or I should say I will have, your upcoming fixture. So, not a lot of home games next week, but certainly ones that you can go to. The men's tennis second team are at home, which is at Lee Valley, against the Essex second team, and that will start at noon. So hopefully another win for the tennis second team. Moving on to a different kind of tennis, table tennis. We've got the men's team home against Middlesex first team at 2 p.m. in the sports dock. Men's football first are at home, which is in Hackney Marshes, against Queen Mary's University College first team. That will be at 2 p.m. So do try and get down there and support them as they continue their quest for promotion to the Bucks South Premier League, where they will join, I believe, 3 teams for UEL. They're already there, and quite a few who are fighting to try and get in, including the men's tennis first team. We then have women's basketball at home. They were off this week, but they will be trying to get a win against the Sussex first team at 2. That's also at the sports dock. So again, do try and go down there and support them. Obviously, we've seen a lot of love for the men's basketball team. Obviously, we talk a lot about them on the show, but I do encourage you to go and support the women's side of the game as well. They are a very good team. I covered them quite a bit, as I've mentioned before, at the end of last season. I was very impressed with how they rattled off, I think, 5 straight wins in a row to avoid relegation. Very, very impressive team. So I do encourage you to go out and support them at 2 p.m. at the sports dock against Sussex. Men's badminton are at home against the London School of Economics third team at 2 p.m. That will also be, again, at the sports dock, so quite a lot of the sports dock going on. And then heading out to Lee Valley, we will have a home match for the men's hockey team against the Royal Veterinary College first team. Quite a late start. That will be at 5 p.m. Netball second team, they'll be at home against the Greenwich third team at 4 as they return back to their league fixtures where they are, I believe, undefeated. Going into some of the top away games, women's volleyball are away to Cambridge, as are men's volleyball. So another doubleheader, as we saw last week, with both teams playing against Bournemouth. Hopefully this time both teams will get a win. Women's tennis first team are away to King's College, London's first team, and men's tennis first team are also away to the University of Kent first team. Men's rugby will be, as I said, trying to get their second win of the season against London Metropolitan University first team. Netball first team are away to Imperial College London fourth, and I would expect them to get another win because they are such a strong team. All the netball teams are. Women's hockey, they'll be playing away against also King's College London, their fifth team. And women's futsal, moving on to Saturday, this Saturday, mind you, not Saturday after the upcoming Wednesday, but this Saturday, women's futsal will be away to Middlesex first team. Men's futsal, the following day on Sunday, will be away to the University of Westminster. And the women's football first team, so not futsal, football, they will be away to Buckinghamshire New University, which is actually quite near to where I live. Should probably go out and see that one. Cheer them on. Men's basketball, as obviously we already discussed, so I don't have to dwell on it too much, are away to Bath. So if you happen to be around the Bath area, I don't know if anybody is, but if you are, try and go and support them. And last of all, we have women's badminton who are playing London South Bank University. Don't really know whether to put this in the home or away category because the time and venue have not been announced. So when I do find that out, I'll try and tweet that from the UELSports Show Twitter account, which is, as I mentioned, at UELSports Show, and also you can see it's at the bottom of the screen. It's not at the moment, but I will edit it in there, so don't worry about it. So if you don't see it, it's just because I've forgotten, so forgive me. But I won't, I'm sure. So we'll try and get that out for you as soon as we know. Obviously, if it's a home game, go and support. If it's an away game, try and go and support anyway, but I won't criticize if you don't. So those are your upcoming fixtures for this weekend and Wednesday. So obviously, again, a lot of action, a lot of games going on. And now we will turn, looking back again to this past Wednesday, at your Play of the Week candidates. Again, we're going with the format of using the new polls on Twitter. Obviously, I understand that a Twitter poll can only last for 23 hours. So vote on whatever day you like. I will put a new one up on each day. But please don't vote more than once. I know none of you would, but I have to say it anyway. Please don't vote more than once. If you've already voted on one of them, it will be counted. Don't worry about it. I'm on top of everything. But when you see it the next day, don't think to yourself, what says I haven't voted? That's because it's a new one, so don't worry about it. You have voted. So anyway, here are your Play of the Week candidates for this past Wednesday.
Love that! Deliver! Yes! Brilliant, lads! Well done!
Alright, so those are your Play of the Week candidates. Again, go to @UELSports on Twitter, and as soon as I can, I will have those up. Probably should have them up now. And you can go and vote for your Play of the Week. And then, here's the rather important announcement. We will not announce the winner on next week's show, because there won't be a show next week. This is simply because partially coursework is obviously piling up. Amongst other things, we are all university students, so I'm sure you can all sympathize with this. Also, the fact is that I have commitments to a musical show that I'm in, so I won't really be at all available next week. Deck also will not be available next week. And then obviously we are very busy with coursework and things, so I don't want to make Sebastian have to do the show all by himself when he's got coursework due. So there won't be a show next week, unfortunately, but do vote for the Play of the Week anyway, and then the following week we will play it and announce the winner, and we'll be back as usual. And will be back in the radio studio, unless of course you really like the way it looks here, with it more of a television show, I suppose. If you really like it, though, make sure you tell me, and we'll make a note of it and have a committee meeting and decide if we want to keep it up. Obviously, if you say no, it's rubbish, didn't even want to watch the thing, I am very sorry. But obviously, we'll change it back. Although, of course, if you didn't watch it, you wouldn't have seen the ending of this anyway. Well, anyway, never mind then. But yes, anyway, it's been fantastic again to be along with you, and see you in 2 weeks. I'm Don McDermott. Thank you for watching the UEL Sports Show. Goodbye.